And good evening and welcome to another episode of the Vegan Hour. This is Tuesday, September the 11th, and tonight is episode 19. And tonight I'm joined by Andrew Dudek from Syndian Natural Foods. Welcome along.
Good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
for being on the show.
It's a great privilege.
It's a pleasure to have you here,
Thank you,
Andrew.
Harry.
So, as people are coming online tonight, I'm going to make some announcements. And some things coming up, and also I want to make some announcements about who presents the Vegan Hour. So just hang on a second, stay tuned. So what have we got here? Okay, tomorrow, Wednesday the 12th of September, Elixir Bar at all three venues are having a Mexican fiesta from 12 noon to 8 p.m. So get down there and check it out. And also this Saturday, the 15th of September, Vegan Life has another Vegan Luck in the Park. So this is September Vegan Luck in the Park at Cascade Gardens from 12 o'clock. And coincidentally, there will be some Syndian food there. Funny about that. Now, the Vegan Hour, now I can see a lot of people coming online there, which is really good. Thank you everyone that's coming online. The Vegan Hour is presented by Vegan Frothers, as you can see in the background there. We are also presented by... sorry, something happening there on the computer. I'm just trying to work out what's going on. We're also, one moment. All good. It's all good now. We're sorted out. Sorry about that. We're also presented by Cess Vegan Pies. You should check these pies out. We just had a lovely delivery tonight, which we may have sampled some of.
Yes, we may well have, Harry. Yep.
We may have. But the other wonderful news is that, have you got that sign there? Yes. Yep. From tonight, I am pleased to announce that the Vegan Hour is also presented by Syndian Natural Food Products. Yes!
Congratulations, Harry.
Thank you. So, thank you for coming on board. So, not only is Syndian helping the Vegan Hour, but also helping Vegan Life with our Vegan Lucks in the Park. Yes, okay. So if you've just joined us, guys, Andrew is the Queensland Manager for Syndian Foods. That is correct.
Correct.
Yes, good.
And a very esteemed position to be holding, if I may say so, Harry.
Yes. The other esteemed position to be holding is holding a pie or holding a box of Syndian sausages.
The cheesy kale in that
The
case.
cheesy kale.
Yep.
How good are these?
Oh,
Talk
they're
about,
incredible.
hey, we're going to,
they literally...
Hey, don't mind us, we're going to do a lot of product placement tonight, right? But how good are they? I mean, I see them do it on TVs, you know, on morning breakfast programs or something. I don't watch that, but you know what I mean. They're so good that what you can do with these, this does sound like an infomercial, is... You can make up a lovely, yeah, nothing I do is scripted. A lovely batch of baked veggies, and then in amongst the baked veggies, you've got these beautiful cheesy
kale and
cashew. And cashew sausages. Oh yeah, and they just heat up in minutes. They're just so good, so good. So, Rhiannon says cheesy kale sausages are the best.
Hi, Rhiannon.
And it's pronounced Ran.
Ran, yeah.
Ran, okay. And Matt says, "Good day, Mr. Harry and Andrew. I'm looking forward to trying your products, Andrew. Tonight you'll be finding out about the products, be finding out where to buy them. You'll be finding out about the company ethos, the history of the company. We go behind the scenes.
The values of the company,
the
behind
values,
the scenes.
that's right, we go behind the scenes. We're also going to be talking about veganism in relation to a wider sort of range of topics, how veganism ties in with spirituality, and we could go anywhere tonight, and hopefully we will.
Yes.
So stick with us and ask your questions, and we'll just flow with it. So let's get the show happening. So what I want to find out, I want to get straight into finding out about Syndian. I want to find out about the company. So can we start with the history of the company?
Yeah.
Andrew?
Okay. Well, from a very humble, and it's a great honour to be here as a Queensland representative of this company, Harry, which it's a company that never ceases to impress me on so many levels. And the more I'm sharing it with people during my travels and journeys, the more insight and affirmation and acknowledgement I'm getting of what a great company it is. I'm not even talking about food, and I'm talking about other levels, which we'll go into.
Which we'll go into, yes.
But the lovely co-founders, Saher and Amal, they founded this company about 18 years ago in Manly. And they were motivated just from a point of creating good, nutritious, yummy food in their own home. And the story was that they made about 5 kilos of falafels for a friend in Manly, I think it was. Correct me if I'm wrong, Saher and Amal. But that just took off literally from the point of view of the taste and the love that went into the food. And that original customer from 18 years ago is one of Syndian's best customers.
I can't help it. I've got to eat it. As you're talking about it, I've got to eat it. So original customer from 18 years ago is one of the best customers today.
From a very humble position of just wanting to create quality food without the adulteration and the contamination, which you know all too well.
I love when I started looking at the ingredients in the Syndian products, and I'm like, oh, this is good. This is the way all products should be.
I love it when people ask me at tastings, what are the ingredients, and I'll go, oh, please let me just tell you. Look at this, Harry. You've got, most of the ingredients are predominantly organic.
That's good. Yes.
So we've got organic polenta, we've got brown rice, organic millet, tomato puree, fresh kale, cashew, coconut oil, rice bran oil, basil, nutritional yeast, salt, flax seed meal, pepper, psyllium husk, garlic, fenugreek. Even the casing on these is made from a plant-based natural polysaccharide.
Fantastic.
So that's it, Harry. There's no chemical numbers. There's no additives.
I just want to ask a question while I'll just show it in there. Is there, because some people avoid all oils.
Yes.
Is there any products that Syndian does that they could have that wouldn't have any oils in them?
That's a good. Most of their mainstream products do contain some sort of oil. Yeah. They're not high on the list.
No.
And the beauty of the oil content, like it's been ticked off. You know, rice bran oil is widely recognised as ticking all the nutritional boxes.
Right. Yes.
And we've got a PhD's report, I think. Online on our website by a dynamo by the name of Kirsty Shaw.
Yes, I saw. Yes,
so she
saw her on there.
Objectively critiqued a raft of our products from a nutritional, from a dietary, and from a yumminess point of view. She's also a bit of a foodie, like you, Harry.
Me? Who said that? Actually, I should talk about a bit of a foodie. I'm gonna do something here. If I move this sign, you will see 3 pizza boxes that are absolutely chock full of food. Special delivery from Seth's Vegan Pies tonight. Just
and who also
some of them might have already been eaten. But while we're talking about one company, Seth's Vegan, we're talking about Syndian. We've also got Seth's Vegan here. So.
Well, I was talking just today, Harry, I've met both the owners, but
yes, you have. Yes.
The lovely co-owner who's a lovely lady, Sarah. She told me she was at the Dominion screening where they donated their pies, and she was working in the kitchen, and she was prepping Syndian food at the same time. And heating it in the oven and getting the other Syndian, the dips in order at the Dominion screening, that amazing film by Chris Elford.
Yes, that's fantastic.
So there's already a connection there between the Syndian.
There's a synergy there. Yes,
absolutely.
There's a couple of comments I just want to get to here. Kat says, I've been eating your products since I went vegan 2 years ago. Love the fact it's clean food.
Yeah.
Syndian has actually said, we are so proud to have you on board, Andrew.
Oh, thank you.
And so excited to be speaking with you, Harry. And they also say thank you for your kind words to everyone. Rayanne, sorry, says you don't need oil to cook with their products. Magically come out divinely cooked.
Yeah.
Yes, I should have specified that.
Yeah.
I didn't mean adding additional oils.
Yeah. When I'm conducting tastings, we're literally putting them out of the freezer into a low to a medium pan or a flame, and the customers are blown away when they're saying that you use no oil.
Yes.
And the answer is no. They're just cooking in whatever oil they've already been infused with and prepared with, which is wonderful.
I've got to say that impressed me. The quality of the ingredients, the lack of all the
Chemical
nasties,
numbers,
numbers and all that, and the fact that you can just heat it up in a pan in a couple of minutes. When you heat it up at taste testings, do you put a little bit of water in the pan, or
no? Depending on the product, I might drizzle it with a bit of lemon juice if people prefer a bit of that.
Okay.
We did that at the Echo show at the Green Edge.
Oh, yes.
And a few other places. People like tasting them just in their pure, unadulterated form, and then they can, like for example, the bites. They love a lovely chili or a sweet or a hot chili. Alternatively, just lemon juice or a bit of mayo, whatever. Yeah. They're very versatile. But speaking of chemicals, or in the case of Syndian, the lack thereof. This has been a companion publication of mine for many years. The Chemical Maze. It was first published, Harry, I think back in about 1999 or something like that. And Bill Statham, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He has been updating this, and you can get it as an app nowadays.
Right. Yes.
Because let's face it, shopping can be hard work. There's a whole gauntlet of chemicals and additives to go through, and this great publication, it confirms that Syndian passes the chemical maze test.
Excellent.
Okay, so all of these numbers, which are accompanied by an additive name, a function, a code, a potential medicinal or effect, which in many cases can be quite serious.
Yes.
These are all in foods and additives that we take for granted in many cases to be relatively benign. And this is where with Syndian, we're taking a direction where we know it is literally 100% natural. 100%.
100%. That is fantastic. Let me just get to a few comments here. Kat says, I prefer Syndian over most other brands, guilt-free and tasty.
Guilt-free and tasty,
Ray says, Syndian tastes better with coconut grove. Coconut water.
Coconut Groove. Oh, yes. Ray. Hi, Ray. Thank you, Ray. Good old Ray.
Coconut Groove?
Coconut Groove, yeah.
Groove. Grove.
Speaking of Coconut Groove, there was an old colleague of mine from the Sunshine Coast, Dave, from Coconut Groove, and we just happened to do a tasting up in the Sunshine Coast at the same time.
Right.
And he's formulated a beautiful vegan coconut drink, an energy drink, which is based on organic, vegan, obviously, coconuts. Yeah. So, but Dave is a huge fan of Syndian, and he gets his snags from Green Acre Organics at Verridale in the beautiful Sunshine Coast. So good on you, Dave, and Coconut Groove and Coconut Groove Clean Energy. Check them out.
Check them out. There's another product. Tonight we're going to fit in as many product placements as we can.
Absolutely. We want to acknowledge and network. And
actually, yes, we do. We are deliberately doing that. We are. I
will get to the history and the ethos of Syndian. I will answer the question.
I love that we haven't even got there yet. I love it. Joanne says, good to see kinder food products on the market. And it is, Joanne. I was really impressed because I didn't know much about Syndian before. I think before I met you, I didn't know much.
No, so, and a lot of other vegans in the know, such as yourself. I'm learning, discovering Syndian in Queensland, which is really gratifying. So thank you everyone for your beautiful comments, and it's very gratifying.
There's a question there you might be able to answer from Kat. Says that she recently invested in an air fryer.
Yes, they do work with air fryers. Yep.
Excellent.
I had a customer share that with me just the other day in Mount Tambourine.
That's that one covered.
Air fryers, ovens, shallow fry. If you want to do them with oil, that's a personal choice.
Of course, yeah. Susie says the sausages are delish. The sausages are amazing. They're just, they are really good.
There's Italian sun-dried tomatoes.
That's my favourite so far.
Okay,
but actually, I've got to say the cheesy kale is a very close second.
They're my favourites.
Are they? Yeah. It's a toss-up between them. In fact, every time I mention the word cheesy kale, I'm forced to reach over here off camera,
smoke chip hot,
and have a piece of it.
There's also the
we're surrounded by food tonight.
We are.
I've got the pies behind me. I've got pies up here. I've got Syndian food there. It's fantastic.
Life is a blessing, isn't it, Harry?
It is. It is. We should be grateful. Kat, thank you
for those comments.
Okay.
An air fryer will work perfectly. And sorry, just to round off that query. If you're baking them, you don't need to oil them. But the versatility of not just, like I've had people say, oh, I cut up the sausages and I put them in a rice dish or a fettuccine. I'll put mushrooms in there and vegan cream, and yeah, so they can be a standalone product on their own, which we did a beautiful sausage sizzle. It went for virtually the whole mid-morning and afternoon at a beautiful venue called Sacred Earth. You have to check it out, Harry.
It sounds familiar.
It is at the premier cutting edge in Mount Tambourine.
Ah,
so it's a complete
yes.
cornucopia. It's the owners, Claudia and Edward, have taken no expense and to be less than appropriate.
Yeah.
And it was very gratifying that we had a whole raft of Syndian tastings going on that day.
And they were well received, obviously.
Well, yeah, to our great humility,
Yeah.
they said that the best part about the whole day was Syndian food. So thank you. But check it out if you're in Mount Tambourine.
Yeah,
Sacred Earth.
Sacred Earth, I've got to check that out. It's about time I went up to Mount Tambourine.
So anyway, I've gone off track. I do apologise.
That's all right. It's dynamic, it's live stream, it's whatever happens. Michelle asks, will the sausages be more widely available? They are delish, but hard to find.
Well, our collective plan and hope and dream is for Syndian to become nothing less than a household name.
Great, I'd like to see that.
So the short answer to that question is, like, in a relatively short period of time, they're finding themselves in the Go Vitas. There's a Go Vita at West End. There's another one at Rabina.
Yes, there is one at Rabina.
Yeah, so that they've recently come on board.
In Queensland, what about their availability in Coles and Woolies and that?
Okay, now with Coles, right, there's a policy in place with Syndian, and again, this ties in with the ethos of the company. So I'm glad you mentioned that. Yes, it is available in Coles. However, Amal and Sahir recognise that from an ethical point of view, some of these big corporations, they put profit before purpose.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. Well, Syndian prides itself on putting purpose before profit.
Beautiful.
Okay, so as a result of that, Coles will only have access to 3 lines of Syndian products.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
So they're the lentil burgers, the green falafels, and the veggie and lentil burgers, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so two of the burgers and the falafels.
Not the sausages, not the bites. They did have the curried pumpkin bites. So if you look at the extensive raft...
Which is no way you'll be able to see that.
But my point is, Harry, as you can see, we've got dozens of products here. We've got bites,
you have
burgers,
a huge amount of products.
Huge amount, ready meals, sausages.
Yeah.
None of those will be able to be acquired at Coles apart from those 3.
Right.
So that way, the grassroots true believers that are working in your health shops, the foot soldiers of the truth movement, they're not going to be overrun and overtaken.
Good.
So there's a beautiful firewall that Syndian have built in.
Nice.
And if people who are buying from Coles think, gee, I like that lentil burger, I might see what else. I'll go to my Go Vita health shop, or I'll go to my Canara, and I'll pick up and look at the rest of the range. So
that's good.
That is good. Yeah.
Let's just have a look here. Gillian asks, where in Adelaide can I get this?
Okay.
Would you know off the top of your head? Would it be, with questions in where they can get them, would it be better to just direct them to the?
We might get a quick
website?
answer. Yeah, go to the website would be my first suggestion. I know that Foodland.
Let me bring it up. I can bring it up. It's possible to do it.
If the person from who's put in that query, Harry, is familiar with Foodland.
Foodland. Okay.
Foodland at Pasadena, and I think there's another one in Adelaide near off.
There's a place down there called Pasadena.
Pasadena, yeah.
Okay.
Now that supermarket is, I'm sure they've got Syndian there because they pride themselves on having premium, good quality, and predominantly organic food. So, I would inquire at Foodland, but go onto our website, please.
So Gillian, I've just put a link to the Syndian website.
Right.
Now Sarah is here on the Gold Coast. She's actually asking, where can we get these from Lani, her daughter,
Yeah.
is super keen to try everything. Oh, you've met Sarah, yeah. You met Sarah from Elixir.
Yeah,
Yes.
Go Vita Ribena. Would
Go
that
Vita
be close
Ribena.
to?
Yes,
Yep,
yeah, that's
okay.
right
Yep.
where they're at. So,
Yep.
so Sarah, if you heard that one,
And
Go Vita Ribena.
Yeah, and I haven't got the exact list, but we're in a number of flanneries as well.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
and
we're also not far from the Love Child. We're in that Flannery's.
that Flannery's at Miami. Yes.
Miami,
Yep.
yeah,
Just
so-
near Love Child, and there's a shout out to Love Child. We love Love Child.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yes. Rayanne says, I pronounced the name right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm getting there. Rayanne says, I kept inquiring at my vegan food friendly chemists and vegan stockists, and now they stock it and lots of other of the Syndian products,
So
which is great.
we're hoping to get a lot more chemists that have got an affinity with whole foods. So you've got, for example, there's a pharmacy, the Whole Health franchise at Toowong, in Brisbane, at West End.
Okay.
Beautiful, cutting edge. It's a new paradigm of pharmacy. So there's aisles of salt lamps and Himalayan salt.
It's about time.
Yeah, so that's the new paradigm as well, and Syndian fits perfectly in with that.
Syndian has also replied to Gillian's
thank you.
comment saying all the food lands in South Australia.
Foodland, yeah.
You can message us with your postcode and we can look up your closest stockist. Thank you very much for that, Syndian.
Thank you.
That's fantastic.
So the Syndian family, I've mentioned Amal and Sahir. We've got the amazing Kylie who works in with me. She's based at the head office. Hi Kylie, and there's Lisa who works in sales support, Alan who's in Victoria, and Yana and Dima. So I just wanted to acknowledge all the work that this amazing family is doing.
This great team does. This family-based business is just fantastic.
I mean, we mentioned, Harry, a little bit about philanthropy.
Yes.
Okay, so the word philanthropy, it literally means, translated, the love of man or the love of humanity.
The love of humanity.
The love of humanity. And I did work in philanthropy before a number of years back.
Yes.
So I was involved in setting up foundations and the like. And with Syndian, what immediately struck me was their willingness to unconditionally embrace a cause, whether it's animal activism, live export banning, the Dominion screenings.
Yeah.
My gosh.
They're there.
They're there.
Oh,
they're
that's
there.
fantastic.
And that degree of compassion and generosity, one would expect coming from a vegan for a start. But when one is in business, and Sahir shared with me that 18 years ago or a decade and a half ago, if they branched out into meat products, they would have probably been a lot wealthier, and they would have been counting the beans in a completely different way.
Right.
But that wasn't the point of establishing Syndian.
Yeah.
And all power to them. Yeah. And the number of lives that are touched. It literally, and I'm not just talking Syndian here, Harry, I'm talking any vegan food. When it's made with love and compassion and devotion to principles like that.
Yes.
Then we're changing lives. We're literally changing lives one mouthful at a time.
That's right. Literally changing lives of the animals and helping our own as well, whilst Harry eats these lovely Syndian sausages.
And speaking of animals, our two dogs are completely pampered. They're both living a very thoroughly healthy, spoiled, opulent vegan lifestyle. I can tell you, dogs don't mind the odd bite.
They would love it.
They would love it. So
actually, funny you should mention that, because my cat may have sampled some as well.
There you go.
My vegan cat.
That's fascinating that you've got a vegan cat. That's another story.
That is another story. We could do an episode on that.
Fascinating. Yeah.
Pip says, lovely to see you guys together chatting.
Thank you, Pip.
So, Pip, thank you for watching.
Yeah, great, Pip.
And so, Kat says, in relation to what you were just saying about the ethos of the company and and the philanthropy, that Kat says, lovely to hear. Behind you guys, 100% purpose is everything to vegans. Yeah. And see, this is why I love having Syndian on board, because their philosophy ties in very much. The more I spoke to Andrew in the meetings that we've had, the more I just went, yeah, I can relate to this company in a way that I can rarely relate to companies because I personally, in the businesses I've dealt with over the years, have often become quite despondent with, the whole just going in the wrong direction basically, and just, greed over everything else. So once I started talking to you and just realised that the Syndian philosophy is just the way it should be in business, then I was like, yes, please, got to connect with these guys. So,
thank you, Harry. Well, I mean, I can reflect that by saying that we've all probably experienced a type of vocation that we haven't particularly been inspired by. And I've had great jobs, and I've had jobs that have driven me on the brink of whatever. But I don't even classify this as work in the conventional sense, because I literally love eating, breathing, and doing Syndian.
That is fantastic. When your work is your passion,
you're not working.
You're not working.
Yeah,
that is fantastic.
So I'm blessed.
You are blessed.
From that point of view.
Another question from Gillian from South Australia asking, will your product be available at the Vegan Fair Adelaide?
Okay, all right. We may get an answer for you tonight, Gillian. So
Syndian may come back with an answer. So
they sound like they're on the ball at the moment.
Yes, they're more on the ball than we are. But I've got so many things I want to ask you. And
so just rounding off this whole philanthropic, Mr. Saher, the co-owner, he said that initially back then.
18 years ago,
they realised that what was germinating in their hearts and minds was that the byproduct of their business, the byproduct of Syndian, is to literally become an ethical mouthpiece, an ethical business. And the proof is in the pudding, even with that Coles policy.
Yes.
I've met people who have lost their jobs in recent times through Coles taking over certain products, and in their particular methodical way, there are victims there, and
so I can strongly relate to that too. It's a lot of the time, the major shopping centres are like a necessary evil. It's like if there's an alternative, I would like to support the alternative.
And that this is why it's all very important, not just with Syndian, but with all purveyors and manufacturers of quality food and beverage, to support the true believers. Because that's where true power is.
That's right.
In my humble opinion. So one of the quotes was, "We vegans are agents for change."
Yes.
And there are some beautiful anecdotes of how they would be making some falafels or bites in their home, and they were loving it, and they were sharing it with their friends and loved ones. And then the notion came to them, really, we should be sharing this with the world. We should be sharing what we love in our kitchen. We should be sharing. And literally, this is what we're getting with Syndian food, because there is so much love and passion and compassion that goes into choosing and selecting and tasting everything. This is reflected almost in an alchemical way, because I happen to believe if something is made and prepared with the energy and the frequency of love, there is an outcome there. We've heard of people like Masaru Emoto and his experiments with water.
That's
amazing.
right.
Greg Braden and the power of prayer and intention.
That's right.
Well, I'm here to tell you, Harry, that I know that this is what goes into Syndian food.
That's fantastic.
So it is fantastic.
It is fantastic, and that's an area that I want to.
We can go
discuss
down there
as well, because it actually ties in. It actually ties in with the understandings of some of the spiritual practices, some of the very well-known spiritual practices in the world that know on a spiritual level that the energy in food, when you're preparing food, has to be done in a state of love. Otherwise, you're actually imbibing, if that's the right word, the food,
or ingesting.
That's right. With an energy that's having a negative effect. So it needs to be done in a state of love. Which is why, for instance, if we pick up, our other major food supporter, Says Vegan Pie, you can tell that Sarah has put so much love into her pie.
The beauty and the love, and
and that also ties in with the fact that there's no possible way that positive energy can be put into anything harmful as far as animal exploitation and that. So there's no way at all that you can be having animal products and do it in a positive way. It'll always be a destructive, negative energy that has an effect not just on the animal, but has the effect on me. But it has an effect, yes, on us, because you're taking in that negative energy.
Yeah, I remember that we're all aware of spiritual teachers that say things are frequency and vibration.
Yeah.
And I remember years ago someone mentioned to me at a seminar that even if we ingest, to use your word, Harry, a pill, a pharmaceutical pill, the frequency and the energy of that pill being lower than the frequency of our inherent divinity, will actually reduce.
That's right.
Our energy levels.
Yes.
And this is what Masaru Emoto and others have proven.
Yes. And for those that aren't aware of that, we're talking about he's Japanese.
He's passed away, unfortunately.
Yes, he did experiments on water and discovered that the molecular structure of water is greatly affected by positive and negative energies. And he's demonstrated. I've shared posts
labeling water.
Labeling water. That's right. Yes. So it's actually very important that we're aware of our intentions when we're doing things. So when we're preparing food, our intention, in a state of love and happiness and gratitude. Gratitude is actually probably a good one. The thing with the food, giving thanks for the fact that we're able to prepare healthy living food. That's a good intention. If we're doing that preparation of the food out of drudgery, it's changing the energy of what we're doing. It's changing the effect of that. There might be people that say, "Oh, well, you can't really scientifically prove it." Not everything. Science hasn't caught up with everything. It's caught up with a lot of things, but there are things that have been known about on a spiritual level for forever. Well, science is only now catching up with and going, "Oh, you know what? We can prove that."
Exactly.
But they've still got a long way to go.
Well, there's a rice and Syndian use rice in their sausages, as you know, the brown rice. But there's a rice experiment that people can do at home. And I've not done it myself, but I've seen the YouTube videos where people are cooking rice. They put it in a jar and they label the jar. Have you seen the YouTube videos? They're mind blowing, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
So you put on one jar, "I hate you."
That's right.
And on the other one you write, "I love you." And within days, within 2 to 3 or 4 days, you've got mouldy, dark.
You've got a rotting mess sort of thing in one, and you've got one that's still okay. They do the same with plants as well. So, And we're deliberately talking.
And I still haven't answered your first question about the ethos of the company.
Well, get there. It's good. It's actually really good because we're getting a lot of really positive comments coming through tonight. I want to refer to Pip's one here. Who says, "I agree, was so enlightening to not only speak to Andrew recently and hear his own personal philosophy on life, but to know that his thoughts and views are also an extension of Syndian's philosophy. Totally on board with the change that companies like Syndian are projecting out into the world of retail and food service businesses."
Oh, lovely. Thank you.
We are what we eat. Great comment there, Pip, and spot on. And Kat says, "Same with water, negatively literally changes the structure of the water." So that's what we've been talking about, of course. Robert says, hello, Robert. Kat says, "Fruit and vegetables have the highest vibration of all food."
Absolutely.
Definitely. You're talking about the ultimate, when you're talking about fruit, I call it the ultimate fast food. It's nature's fast food. I mean, you just pick it and eat it sort of thing, So, and it has that high vibration level. And Kat says, "Glad you guys are mentioning this. Metaphysics has only just come into it in the last decade." That's true. In fact, they came up with a new label because science has distanced itself from spiritual sort of knowledge for so long. Quantum physics was the sort of the new label. That's a label that allows them to sort of science to be sort of spiritually aware, I guess. So that's my description of it and my understanding. So that they can sort of go, "Oh yeah, actually, energies and all that do exist, and these things do, what we're talking about, do happen. We can understand it from a scientific view because it fits in with quantum physics or something.
But when we talk about science, Harry, it's almost as if science is trying to catch up with what has already been perfectly, divinely laid out for us in abundant perfection.
If science wasn't such a heavily followed religion, you know, where people go, oh yeah, but can you prove it with science? It's like, really, you know, just step away from science sometime and prove it with your heart.
Yes. Well, the foundation of scientific data is observable, repeatable, recordable, and if we look in nature throughout the plant kingdom, we know that there's a phytonutrient or a compound or a molecule in any particular species or substrata of the plant kingdom, whether it's fruit, herbs, seeds, nuts, mystical plants, right? Which science, as you've said, is still trying to replicate. From Panadol, which is trying to replicate. I think it's the willow tree to antidepressant medication. And look at all of the haphazard, random horror stories that are readily available in documentary films about where. Isn't that a case? I mean, while we're talking about this, because we have gone right off on a tangent, but isn't that a case of when? But that motivates Syndian as well. What we're talking about. So you know, to answer the question,
But isn't it a case of when man plays God, the results are never particularly good?
Never going to turn out well.
They're never going to turn. I mean, at what point? Well, I'm having a bit of a rant here, but an enlightened person doesn't try to reinvent the wheel. An enlightened person goes, well, hang on a second, let's observe what's happening, which is what you're talking about, observing nature, right? And realise it's already perfect in what we're presented with.
Absolutely.
And then work with it. Instead of going, oh no, I'm man, I'm smarter than that. But what does man do? Man proves that they're not smarter than that with the way that we go and should I swear? Go in the way that we ruin things, you know. It's
that's a great point. We were talking, and this ties in with all good manufacturers of vegan food. We were just mentioning about just before your show started about the massive $289 million damages award that was made in a US Supreme Court a couple of weeks ago against Monsanto Corporation.
Monsanto, who hereon will be referred to as the evil corporation.
The evil corporation. So that was over Ready Roundup, the glyphosate. And that one employee of a school has been awarded $289 million because there was a direct correlation between the Ready Roundup that he was spraying and his non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. But it's been, and they've known this, right? So now all the lawyers in America are getting ready for a massive class action. And Bayer, I think Bayer have just taken over Monsanto, so it's Bayer Monsanto.
Right.
So they couldn't have taken the company over at a worse time, which is probably karma. At work.
It is. You know what worries me about that is that they usually have a strategy to then offload the company if the shit hits the fan.
Which it inevitably does.
They'll offload the company to get past their responsibilities, and then they'll just sell it to themselves under another name sort of thing. You know?
So to all of your audience, Harry, most of, I'm sure if not all, would be aware, be very wary of so-called health foods if they're not certified GMO free. Because that was another horror story that a well-known scientist tried to make known back in the early days of the Blair government. His name was Dr. Arnold Pustai or something, and he mentioned back then that genetically modified potatoes will cause cancer in the long run. And this is why Syndian prides itself on being GMO free, non-GMO. Doesn't matter which product you go. They're all a safe bet.
I love it. But it says right there on the front. Not that you're going to be able to see it, but non-GMO.
And speaking of the Monsanto debacle, the horror story, those Ready Roundup products are ending up in children's breakfast cereals like Cheerios and other product, okay? So it's endemic, and it's been linked to child retardation in terms of growth, loss of fertility, all manner of cancers.
What gets me is the seriousness of this. We're not talking about a situation where it's just somebody that's just cut their finger or something and it's going to hurt for a few days.
Yep.
We're talking about ruining somebody's life. You know, because the children's products have got this shit in it, and you know, I get really wound up about this.
Oh, I do.
Because,
you know,
I mean, if you're the parent,
check out that book.
Just put the Chemical Maze.
Chemical Maze.
That's a good read.
Yeah.
If you're the parent, I mean, how do you feel if you're the child itself that's affected, that you end up with your whole life ruined because of products that should never have been in the food in the first place? I mean, what about, we're talking I can never
glyphosate.
say glyphosate. I always get it mixed up. But what about the fact that it's now been discovered to be a probable contributor to autism in vaccines?
Yes, well,
more so than the mercury, which is what
is
what they have been saying. What I've read is that mercury has been in vaccines since 1927. I think I read, whereas the
glyphosate.
The glyphosates have been only in since the 80s or 90s, I think it is.
Yep.
And I think there's some correlation there. They're now discovering a correlation between the rise in autism in kids and the vaccines with the glyphosates.
Tell your audience to check out the film Vaxxed, VAXXD. It's a towering classic of a true story documentary. The way they dragged Dr. Andrew Wakefield across the coals, ruined his life, trashed his reputation because he was a truth teller.
I think I saw an interview with him, actually. I think I just want to get some comments here. Kat says, fascinating that ancient tribes knew about all this thousands of years ago. This is it. Modern science is only just tapping into it. That's right. I'm going to give modern science credit for for waking up to it. I'll give them credit for that, but they've still got a long way to go. Synthetics will never be as effective as nature's synergy, Sarah says, and that's spot on. Of course, this is the point, isn't it? I mean, why aren't we working with nature instead of trying to recreate it?
Someone's just mentioned the green edge there.
Okay.
I was going to mention
let's
that.
see.
Yeah. Brisbane's largest vegan grocery store and cafe. Yep.
Great. Yeah. Oh, yes. Okay. Great.
We did an amazing Eka Day tasting at the Green Edge, and there were some beautiful stories there talking about spirituality, and some of the people were coming up to me, and you know, in conversation, I recall asking a mother if she was vegan. Yes. And she said. She said, I'm not, but I just about am now because of my daughter. And I said, what did your daughter do? And she said, nothing really. She just woke up one morning and she said, Mum, Dad, I can't harm animals anymore. She wasn't reading anything or going online. It was a spontaneous awakening.
Awakening from the heart.
And the mother shared this with me. And I said, well, congratulations to you. You must be so proud of you. And she said, I'm very proud.
And she was so emotional.
And the siblings have become vegan. And she said to me, we're on the way to becoming vegan. Fantastic. So never underestimate the power of one.
Definitely.
So they were at the Green Edge, by the way. So
Syndian, for those that will be watching this on YouTube later, you can get the Syndian products from the Green Edge in Brisbane. The Green Edge rocks. They've got some great food there too. You're a regular customer there?
I am.
Yes.
And it was a great Eka Day.
Several
weeks back.
Kat says, as a parent, I have serious concerns with GMOs, not worth the risk.
No, definitely
Second
not.
That.
The Chemical Maze will also outline, I have no financial interest whatsoever.
No.
I remember I used to give them away to my friends and loved ones, and I still do.
But what you have is a heartquartment interest in helping people.
I do.
That's what's, that's what's happening there.
And it's just a real easy way to navigate through that quagmire of chemicals and additives. It's idiot proof, and that's why it's worked so well for me over the years, Harry.
I should get a dozen of them. The Syndian says, such important topics, guys. Thank you for touching on this. And Ray says that glyphosate. I said it.
Glyphosate.
I said it. The glyphosate is nasty. Of course, it's nasty. I mean, it just. We can keep going back to different examples in history where companies come up with products that later turn out to be so known to be so bad.
Look
and
at thalidomide.
oh,
Remember
again,
when doctors said smoking was healthy for you?
again, it's incredible, isn't it? The thing we have to listen to instead of these so-called people that have supposedly are interested, at heart, is actually listen to our heart when we suspect that there's something, maybe not quite right there. So,
So you're touching on the deception that's rampant in this world, and whether or not we're in tune with our heart space to identify and discern and turn our backs on that deception.
We need to be. We need to not be gullible, right? We need to be open to things. We don't want to close off things and say, I'm not going to check things out.
We should be cynical. We should be curious.
We should be curious.
Yeah,
yes,
we should research.
Right. We should research.
Yeah, beyond the Courier Mail or the 7 o'clock news.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yes. The one great thing about social media is it has exposed a lot of the mainstream connections, I guess you could say, that we weren't quite as aware of before. Now social media sort of brings them up and says, are you aware that the Meat and Dairy Board is sponsoring, this research or whatever that's saying it's okay to eat eggs or whatever, and it's okay to have animal products and that, These things are being brought to the surface more now, and there's a so that's part of being aware of what's going on, always asking questions to see why things are the way they are.
Exactly.
For some of us, that's a natural thing to always inquire, but for other people, they've just gone along and believed everything they've been taught. So it's never too late to change and just say, look, I need to, look a bit deeper into things.
And as we touched upon, Harry, just because a product is vegan, it doesn't equate to being beneficial, because we're aware of certain vegan products that are out there, and it doesn't pass the test.
That's right. Yeah. I'm not going to. I can't knock any vegan. I don't want to knock any vegan products, but I do want to say that you have to have some things in moderation. Unless it's dessert, you can have that for every meal. But when it's vegan products, if you're having a lot of vegan fast food or processed foods, you've got to be aware that the body was never designed for that in the first place, and that we should obviously be looking at the ultimate vegan fast food, as I was saying earlier, fruit, and vegetables, preferably in the raw state. But
great point. Thank you, Harry. So do we go back to your first question, or have we covered that in a round?
We've covered that.
What else?
We've covered philanthropy and Monsanto, where the products are available.
So Syndian, like what they did with Dominion and the ALQ, and
I love
all
that.
That's just beautiful. And a big shout out to Chris Delforce and the entire team of Dominion and the amazing achievement
for the risks that he's put himself under. Just to get the truth out there.
It's a great, towering achievement.
I mean, that's not a vested interest at all, except for what we all should be fighting for, which is the lives of the animals and being a voice for the voiceless. So it's absolutely awesome.
So I salute that entire production team and Chris Delforce. I mean, obviously, Harry, you don't need to see a film like that. I don't need to see a film like that. It was very traumatizing to endure it, but it's the ideal film to take a non-vegan.
A pre-vegan too.
A pre-vegan.
A pre-vegan. Yes.
That's what Sahir actually reminded me of when he spoke. He said, "We're all vegans in waiting."
Vegans, yes.
Isn't that a lovely way to depict it?
Yes. I think
it's a matter of when does that moment come when you're awoke?
Yes.
You're awakened.
Yes.
And it might be an encounter with someone. It might be watching a film like Dominion.
Could be.
It's certainly a lot.
It could even be like that other movie that came out a couple of years ago. Now he's having a brain fade. It wasn't actually meant to be
Doco or a
no. It was a. It was.
Not Okja.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I just lost. I could not think. See, now Okja was like almost an accidentally vegan film. But then when I researched it, I found out that one of the main people behind it is vegan, as it turns out. I can't remember if it was the guy who wrote it or produced it or directed it, but one of the main people involved in that film was vegan, and so he was trying to get it across.
Yeah.
So there was an intention there.
There was an intention there. And there was also that play on words with the evil corporation. It was a play on Monsanto, if you remember.
No, I don't. Yeah, what was? Do you remember what the play was? It was something.
It was the same number of syllables, and it rhymed with Monsanto. But if you haven't seen Okja, I'm sure you would be.
Okja's a good one.
OKJA.
OKJA. Okja's a good one to sort of just introduce, especially I think younger people too, because I think it would really touch them with the connection that's made with the animals in the film.
Yes.
And even though there was one scene where one of the characters, I think, was eating fish, if I remember correctly.
Yes, that was in the early stage of the film.
So which sort of surprised me, but anyway,
it's a beautiful film. I would recommend it thoroughly. If you haven't seen it, check it out. If you're watching Dominion, I would use obviously a lot of caution with young children.
Yes,
around.
Which is,
we all know that
which
anyway,
speaks volumes for the fact that where their food is coming from, we have to be extremely cautious to show them where it's coming from, because it's so just awful.
And the energy and the frequency of that bloodlust, that evil, murderous carnage, done in such a loveless, evil, wicked way. We're ingesting all of that too.
This is the thing.
And all of the ready Roundup,
scientifically
feed that they're giving the animals,
the chemicals, the energy. I mean, scientifically, they know that there's an adrenaline. When the animals are killed and they're in a state of fear, there's an adrenaline injected into the body of the animal that stays in the meat or something along that line. So they mention that scientifically. But energetically, it's even worse than that. Energetically, the vibration of eating an animal product, the vibratory rate is so low that it's dragging your energy right down. It's doing the complete opposite of eating a live food, which is bringing your energy up. So it means it's making it harder for you to actually have insight and wisdom. Because you're just not connecting with your heart. You're just being dragged down. And what we see in a lot of society is a lot of people just going through the motions with blinkers on and programmed asleep, and you think, how did this happen? And you think, well, let's just have a look at what they're doing at least 3 times a day when they're eating, at the energy that they're putting into their body, and then it starts to make a lot of sense. And then you combine that with the other lifestyles that be following. If they're smoking, they're drinking, they're taking a lot of things like aspirin or whatever, something like that. You just combine that all, and you think, I don't even know how some people live as long as they do, because the body is extremely resilient.
Well, that's a testament to the resilience of the body.
It's
amazing the fact that we can live this long with all of the intervention, the chemical, the radio.
Some people's lifestyles, I just think if I was doing that, I would last nowhere near as long. My body couldn't handle it. It's too sensitive.
There's a comment there from Pip I'm reading. A guy came to my house to take away weeds. He tried to tell me Roundup was safe for humans and dogs. He licked the poison to try and prove it was safe. And do you know, that's actually what they used in their sales pitch not that long ago. They actually said, a representative from Monsanto said, it's good enough to drink. They're on the record. I kid you not. You can't make this up, can you, Harry? They're on the record as saying, this is why the class action has got so much power and clout behind it.
Yeah, but the bit that doesn't
safe enough to drink.
Safe enough. The bit that doesn't make any sense is we're all living on the same planet. So it's not like these people in these corporations are going home to a different place. They're poisoning their own children. And
unwittingly.
Well, maybe wittingly. They're poisoning their own children. They're poisoning the place they're living. There is so much stupidity involved in that action, all because of the love of money, all because of greed. It's like, how dumb can you be to be doing that? It's just That does not compute.
Harry, are you finding, on the ground, I'm certainly picking it up, there's an awakening going
Oh,
on. There's
huge.
paradigm
Huge.
shifts, people are bubbling up,
Definitely.
children who are just
Definitely.
waking up.
Definitely.
Getting
Our youth is fantastic.
It really, yeah.
I just want to get to a couple of comments there. Kat says big corporations are taking advantage of the plant-based market and launching products with synthetic chemicals, and GMOs. Yeah. Kat, you were spot on with the plant-based market. Yeah, well, the plant-based market, because there's money to be made, so many companies getting on board there. Robert says, I've seen some of those films you talk about. What happens to animals? I've eaten less meat more than ever.
Yeah, that's a great comment by, is it Robert?
Robert? Yeah.
Yeah, like the medium of film, whether it's a documentary like Cowspiracy, or even Babe. Remember the beautiful Babe film?
Yes.
Now, there's a true story about that. The actors and James
Cromwell,
he's
yes.
a Star Trek actor too, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
Yeah.
He is too. Yes.
Thanks to being on Babe and connecting with the energy and the love and of the pig.
Yes.
He became a vegan.
He became vegan, and that was like 25 years ago or something.
Yeah. So
and
that's a great point.
He goes on protests, marches, and stuff like that. I just want to, Robert, I just want to get back to you there because, Robert, I just want to pick up on your comment that I've eaten less meat more than ever, which I give you fantastic credit for doing that. I just want to say that in 2018, you have got so much resources and so much potential to go vegan now. It really is an amazing time. There's so much support.
It's ridiculously easy, isn't it?
It's easy. Can I say, Robert, from my heart to yours, that you can go to a site called Challenge 22 and you can make that commitment to help the animals, but it's helping yourself as well. It's helping the planet. It's helping, the animal agriculture industry is unsustainable.
Totally.
So, you're helping your children, you're helping your friends, you're helping everyone. I'm just trying to push you over the line a bit. You're making a move in that direction.
Spiritually, nutritionally.
It'll help you in so many ways. You'll be helping the animals. You will feel a lightness. You'll know in your heart's the right thing to do. I just ask you to consider, taking a further step. And you can contact me by private message for more information to help transition to a full vegan lifestyle. I've been vegan 38 years. If I can do it, anyone can.
As Sahir said, we're vegans in waiting.
We're vegans in waiting.
And there was another lady, an elderly lady, who came up. She looked the picture of perfect glowing health, and she said, "We're actually all vegans. We've just forgotten that fact."
Spot on.
Spot on.
Yeah, she's spot on.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
And
we're born with compassion, with a love of animals. We cringe when we see an animal being hurt. Most people are against animal cruelty. They just need to reconnect with what they know in their hearts is the right thing to do. Sarah says stress hormones flood meat and extremely low vibes full of sadness, fear and horror, which is right, tying back to what we were saying earlier. Kat says you eat the fear and sadness, adrenaline and cortisol, I think it is, chemicals released in the blood which suppress your immune system. Another thing affecting your health. Robert says, I've been lied to all my life, now I've woken up. Good, fantastic. This is what has happened for so many people, Robert. It's never too late to wake up. And once we know the truth, we actually can't go back. Because if we're going, once you've got the knowledge, you'll have a responsibility.
You can't go back onto that previous path. In my experience,
if you make a decision to go back, you're making that decision knowing that what you're doing is wrong.
It's a tough gig not being a vegan. I pity the compassionate people waiting to unleash their compassion. Because it's the burden of hypocrisy, it's the burden of guilt, it's the burden of unethical behaviour.
Trying to live with yourself if you go back.
Exactly. Not possible, Harry.
My opinion. No, that's right.
So this is why it all seamlessly fits in the whole ethos of Syndian, all quality vegan foods, the direction, the paradigm.
That's actually sounding like a good wind-up. Ray says this is the best vegan hour I've seen.
That's great. Thank you, Ray.
Kat says, Kat's now replying to Robert about eating less meat. Glad you have. I hope you feel the benefits. If you have any questions about going vegan, there are so many resources nowadays. So Kat's basically echoing what I was saying.
Yeah.
There are so many resources.
I mean, back in the day, you may remember Linda Stoner. I know
Yes,
her
yes.
nephew.
Yeah.
She was a trailblazer back in those days
Yeah.
when people like her, it was tough. It was a tough gig.
We're talking
And even-
1970s. I think.
Yeah, even people
Yeah.
like Ray there from the
Yeah.
Sunshine Coast.
Yeah.
Now there are no excuses whatsoever.
Exactly. And now it's just justifications for not embracing the change, you know, because if we approach things with an open heart and an open mind, then we're given the information we need, you know.
Yeah.
So
I've got a great quote here from one of my favourite vegans, Moby.
oh yeah.
You're not Moby, are you? Because if you are, then I mean the goosebumps, Harry. But Moby
I
said,
bear a small resemblance to me. I don't have the voice.
what an amazing musician.
What an amazing person.
Amazing person, yeah.
You just
There's a great quote. He said, "Could you look an animal in the eyes and say to it, 'My appetite is more important than your suffering'?"
Yeah.
True artist, the true
that is fantastic. Talking about Moby,
so you're not Moby. We've established that, have we? Or
I've been actually seriously, I'm not making this up. I've been mistaken for him.
yeah,
seriously.
Okay, well, that's why I asked. So, you know, he could be having a secret.
I was at an
double
event.
life.
I was at an event in Brisbane, and there was somebody there who was convinced I was. So,
Not surprised.
Kat says this is a great episode. Robert says thank you both for your support. I've written down the group challenge 22. Can we get a vegan Syndian Hour part 2? We're definitely going to have to do a part 2 because we have so much more we want to talk about, and we have only just touched the surface. We didn't even start to get in deep into more the spiritual aspect in that, and we would like to do that because we've had some good discussions pre the vegan hour about that. And Kat says she would like to see a second episode with us together. Right. So that is fantastic. We're going to have to start winding up soon, which I don't want to do. You know it's a good episode when it's gone quick. You know, when it's gone real, and this is probably the quickest I've ever felt an episode go, which is fantastic. But what one thing we haven't mentioned, and I made a post maybe a week or two ago where I said I'm going to have on the Vegan Hour the biggest guest I've ever had, and could people guess who it was? And I bring this up because some people said, is it got to be Moby, right? Some people
that'll
said...
be just Harry on his own. That'll be the big reveal.
Robert says I'm Moby's twin brother. So what, and I didn't give away who it was because we haven't actually said...
Well, it hasn't been consummated yet.
We've got an okay.
We've got an okay.
Yes,
we've got a very good okay.
We've just got to find a time. What I said was we have to find a time when he's not travelling around the world, when he's actually here. Now he's coming to
He's coming
back to Australia. Yes, that's right. So should we just flash up a picture or something like real quick? Well, and then without saying who it is, and cover his name, and then just see if people get who it is. So coming up on the Vegan Hour, God knows when. Oh, you haven't covered his name.
In the foreseeable future.
Coming up in the foreseeable future would probably be the biggest guest that I've had on the Vegan Hour. If you don't know who that is, then you're going to have to be tuning, not chewing, I've been chewing. You're going to have to be tuning in for that.
That'll be an amazing episode. We're talking about a vegan rock star. No,
yes, a vegan rock star. We are talking about a vegan rock star other than Moby.
Other than Moby.
Let's go to one more comment from Pip. I've just adopted an 18-year-old boy / man to come and live in my vegan house. He moves in this Friday, and I certainly will be stocking the freezer with Syndian Foods. Good on you. Go, Pip. You sound like you would make a great vegan mentor. Yeah. And Pip's got it. Yeah, Tolman. Tolman will be on the Vegan Hour. Yes. I don't know when.
It'll be very soon, though.
Well, yeah, good. Yeah. Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
This is my booking agent.
We're spreading the love.
We are spreading the love. Yeah. There is so much more we could talk about.
There is, Harry.
But there's only 60 minutes in an hour.
But on behalf of Syndian, thank you, sir.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I want to say publicly also thank you, Syndian. Thank you to Syndian for coming on board, for helping support the Vegan Hour and vegan life, and for your wonderful food, and for your philanthropy, which is also supporting so many different activism events and things like that, and for your whole just the way you do things in business. So. Is there anything we haven't mentioned before we wind up?
No, I'm happy to
okay.
on that lovely note. And,
I want to thank everyone
again,
that's been commenting tonight. It's been hard to keep up with the comments, which is I like that activity. That's great. I want to mention that I'll be back next week. That's on September the 18th, and I've got the CEO of I Feel Good magazine, Adam Guthrie. He will be here to talk about I Feel Good magazine, also to talk about his transformation, I guess, and how his vegan journey. So that'll be next Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. So until then, I hope you've enjoyed tonight's episode. Remember, we're on YouTube. Probably in 2 days' time, you'll be able to watch this episode on YouTube. But until then, remember to live vegan and save lives. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Harry,
for being on the show. Thanks, everybody. Have a great evening. Until then, good night.